Official case summaries. Unaltered footage. Transparent justice. You are watching Bodycam incident reports.
Now.
Vehicle's off. The smart key is locked in the trunk. I'm not in control of it.
I don't care. You're behind the wheel with open alcohol. Step out or I'll pull you out.
In Westlake Plaza parking structure, level 3, 2:15 p.m. Kevin Carter sat in the driver's seat of a parked Rolls-Royce Cullinan. The digital dashboard was completely black. In the center console cup holders sat 2 open bottles of craft beer. A police Ford Explorer sharply turned into the aisle. It bypassed the empty parking spaces and stopped diagonally. Its front bumper angled directly toward the Cullinan's rear driver's side quarter panel, physically blocking the vehicle from reversing. Before the officer makes his first mistake, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What city are you watching from? Officer Kelly stepped out of the driver's side of the cruiser. His partner, Officer Davis, stepped out of the passenger side. They did not approach immediately. Kelly unclipped his radio microphone from his tactical vest and called in the Cullinan's license plate to dispatch. Lincoln Adam 9027, occupied twice, level 3, Westlake structure. Kelly walked up to the driver's side window. Davis walked in a wide arc around the rear of the Cullinan and took a tactical stance 2 feet behind the passenger side door, resting his right hand on his utility belt, observing the passenger, Marcus Jones. Kelly stopped at Kevin's open window. He looked directly at the center console. "Driver's license," Kelly demanded, "and step out of the vehicle." Kevin handed his state ID through the window. He did not unbuckle his seatbelt. "Officer, the vehicle is turned off," Kevin stated calmly. Kelly took the license. He didn't look at it. "You are sitting behind the wheel with an open container of alcohol. Step out of the vehicle for a field sobriety test." "I am not in physical control of this vehicle," Kevin said. "The engine has been off for 45 minutes. The smart key is locked inside a Faraday pouch in the trunk. The ignition is disabled. We are waiting for a hired black lane driver." Kelly did not look toward the trunk. He did not ask for consent to verify the location of the key. He stepped closer, pressing his tactical vest against the exterior door panel. "I don't care who you are waiting for," Kelly said, his voice dropping in pitch. "You are behind the wheel. You will step out right now." Kevin looked at the officer. "I decline the field sobriety test," Kevin stated clearly. "I will not exit the cabin. The vehicle is dead." Kelly dropped his right hand to the grip of his taser. With his left hand, he reached aggressively through the open window, bypassing Kevin's shoulder, and pulled the interior chrome door handle. The heavy Cullinan door swung open. Kelly did not issue another verbal command. He grabbed the fabric of Kevin's jacket near the left collarbone, pivoting his own body weight backward to rip Kevin out of the driver's seat. Kevin did not brace his feet against the floorboards. He did not swing his arms. The sudden, violent pull dragged him over the door sill. His knees hit the concrete of the parking structure. "Stop resisting!" Kelly shouted, his voice echoing off the low concrete ceiling of the parking garage. Kelly drove his knee directly into the center of Kevin's back, pinning him face down against the abrasive concrete. He grabbed Kevin's left wrist, wrenching the arm upward at a sharp angle toward his shoulder blades. The steel ratchets of the handcuffs clicked rapidly, biting into the skin. On the other side of the vehicle, Officer Davis drew his taser, pointing the red laser dot straight through the passenger window at Marcus Jones. "Keep your hands on the dashboard. Do not move," Davis ordered. Kevin lay flat on the concrete, his face pressed against the ground, the heavy weight of the officer's knee pressing the breath out of his lungs. He did not struggle. "The smart key is in the trunk," Kevin repeated quietly against the concrete. Kelly grabbed the chain linking the handcuffs and hauled Kevin to his feet. "You're under arrest for driving under the influence and resisting a lawful order," Kelly stated, pushing Kevin toward the hood of the Ford Explorer. Kelly pushed Kevin's chest flat against the sloping metal hood of the Ford Explorer. He spread Kevin's legs apart with a swift kick to the inside of his left ankle and began a rapid, aggressive pat-down. His hands moved hard over Kevin's pockets. He squeezed the fabric of the front jeans pockets, the empty breast pocket, and the inner lining of the jacket. He pulled out a leather wallet and an iPhone. He checked the back pockets. He squeezed the jacket lining a second time, searching for the heavy metallic bulk of a Rolls-Royce smart key. He found nothing. "Keep your head down," Kelly ordered, placing the wallet and phone on the cruiser's windshield. Bright LED headlights swept across the concrete pillars of level 3. A black Chevrolet Suburban turned into the aisle. It stopped 30 feet away from the police cruiser, unable to pull closer due to the diagonal blockade. The vehicle displayed commercial livery plates. The driver's side window rolled down. Thomas Ford, a hired chauffeur wearing a black suit, leaned out. He held up his smartphone. The bright screen clearly displayed the Black Lane driver application interface. "Excuse me, officers," Ford called out. "I have a scheduled premium pickup for a Mr. Carter. Is that his vehicle?" Officer Davis turned away from the passenger side of the Cullinan. He holstered his taser. He did not pull out a notepad. He did not ask for Ford's identification. Davis walked briskly toward the idling Suburban. He stopped 2 feet from the door and shined his tactical flashlight directly into the cabin, blinding Ford. "This is an active police investigation," Davis stated loudly. "You are impeding a traffic stop." Ford raised a hand to block the glare. "Officer, I'm just verifying my client. The pickup was scheduled for this exact spot." "They ordered the car 30 minutes ago." Davis ignored the statement. "I am giving you a lawful order to disperse. If this vehicle is still parked in this aisle in 5 seconds, you are getting a citation for obstruction, and I am impounding your truck. Put it in reverse. Now." Ford looked past the flashlight beam at the Cullinan, then down at his phone. A police citation would instantly suspend his commercial license. "Understood," Ford said quietly. He shifted into reverse. The Suburban backed slowly out of the aisle, turned the corner, and disappeared down the concrete ramp. Davis walked back to the Cullinan. He tapped his knuckles against the passenger window. "Step out," he ordered Marcus Jones. Marcus stepped onto the concrete. "Start walking," Davis pointed toward the stairwell. "You are free to go." "I'm taking the vehicle," Marcus said. "I'm sober, and the key is in the trunk. Let me pop it." Kelly walked over from the cruiser, leaving Kevin secured in the back seat. "Nobody is touching this vehicle. It is evidence in a DUI. It is being impounded." "You haven't even verified if the car can start," Marcus stated. "Step away from the scene, or you will join your friend in holding," Kelly warned, resting his hand on his duty belt. Marcus looked at the two officers, turned, and walked toward the concrete stairwell. Kelly unclipped his shoulder microphone. "Dispatch, Adam Niner. Suspect is in custody. Roll a flatbed tow to Westlake Level 3. Heavy duty required. We have a disabled Cullinan." Kelly did not attempt to open the trunk. He did not look for the smart key. Central City Police Precinct. Bullpen. 3:45 p.m. Kevin Carter sat on a steel bench in a cinder-block holding cell. 50 feet away, Officer Kelly sat at a desktop terminal, staring at a blank digital Form 314 DUI arrest report. To secure a conviction under actual physical control, an officer's narrative must establish that the suspect had the immediate capability to operate the vehicle. If the report stated the car was dead and the key was missing, the district attorney's office would reject the charges before morning. Kelly placed his fingers on the keyboard. He began typing his sworn narrative under penalty of perjury. Upon approaching the vehicle, this officer observed the suspect occupying the driver's seat. Before making contact, I placed my hand on the front hood of the vehicle and noted it was radiating heat, indicating the engine had recently been running. Kelly hit the spacebar twice. The suspect's right foot was actively depressing the brake pedal. While requesting identification, this officer visually located a black smart key fob resting in the center console cup holder, in plain view and immediately accessible to the suspect, establishing actual physical control of the vehicle. Kelly paused typing. He looked across the bullpen. Officer Davis was filling a styrofoam cup at the coffee machine. Kelly turned back to the screen and finished the paragraph. Suspect exhibited a hostile and erratic demeanor, refused a lawful order to exit the vehicle for a field sobriety test and physically pulled away during extraction. He clicked the save icon. Officer Davis walked over to the desk. He stood behind Kelly's chair and looked at the monitor. He read the paragraph about the warm hood, the foot on the brake, and the key in the cup holder. Davis had been standing right there on the concrete platform. He knew Kelly had never touched the hood, and he knew they had never seen a key. Davis didn't say a word. He didn't ask a question. He leaned over Kelly's shoulder, typed his own badge number into the secondary/witnessing officer field, and entered his digital password. Kelly clicked Submit Affidavit. The system processed the file. The document was instantly encrypted and uploaded to the district attorney's server. It was no longer a story. It was a sworn legal document verified by 2 police officers entering the judicial system as absolute fact. Kelly stood up, grabbed his jacket, and clocked out for the day. Central City Municipal Court, Room 4, B 9 a.m. Assistant District Attorney Sarah Taylor stood at the prosecution table. She opened the manila file for State v. Carter and skimmed Officer Kelly's sworn narrative. Michael Green stood next to Kevin Carter at the defense table. Driving under the influence and resisting arrest, Taylor said, not looking up from the file. Defendant has no priors. I'll offer a reduction to reckless driving, a $1,200 fine, a 30-day administrative license suspension, and 12 months of summary probation. No jail time. The defense rejects the plea, Green stated. Taylor finally looked up. Counsel, I have 2 sworn officers stating your client was behind the wheel with an open container, his foot on the brake, and the smart key in the center console. He refused a field sobriety test and physically resisted extraction. If we take this to trial, I am seeking 6 months in county. Green opened his briefcase. He pulled out a single sheet of paper and slid it across the table to Taylor. This is a certified API log from Black Lane Chauffeur Services, Green said. My client booked a commercial driver at 1:45 p.m. The GPS telemetry shows the hired vehicle arrived at the exact parking space on level 3 at 2:18 p.m. during the arrest. Taylor looked at the timestamps. She looked back at Kelly's arrest report. Booking a driver shows intent, but it doesn't invalidate actual physical control, Taylor said flatly, pushing the paper back across the table. Officer Kelly's sworn affidavit explicitly states he physically felt heat radiating from the hood and visually identified the smart key in the cup holder. Your client had the immediate physical capability to put that vehicle in motion. The state is moving forward with the DUI. Green didn't argue. He didn't point out that the key was in the trunk. He wanted the prosecution anchored completely to Officer Kelly's fabricated details. He picked up the receipt and placed it back in his briefcase. Noted, Green said. We request a pretrial discovery schedule. I am filing a subpoena duces tecum this afternoon. Taylor made a note on the front of the file with her pen. Subpoena for what? The Rolls-Royce, Green replied. At 2 p.m., Michael Green filed a subpoena duces tecum in Central City Municipal Court. The target was not a human witness. It was the Legal Compliance Department of Rolls-Royce Motor Cars North America, LLC. Modern ultra-luxury vehicles do not just operate mechanically. They function as rolling data centers. The Cullinan's onboard electronic control units, ECU, constantly log the status of the vehicle to a centralized server. Green's subpoena requested 3 specific data points from the vehicle's telemetry logs, isolated to the exact window of 1:30 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. on the day of the arrest. Engine block temperature, brake pedal pressure parameters, and interior cabin RFID antenna pings. Assistant District Attorney Sarah Taylor immediately filed a motion to quash. A hearing was set before Judge William Parker. Taylor stood at the prosecution table in courtroom 4B. Your Honor, the state objects to this subpoena, Taylor stated. This is a standard misdemeanor DUI based on actual physical control. The defense is demanding proprietary corporate telemetry data. It is an overbroad fishing expedition, and it is entirely irrelevant to the arresting officer's visual observations at the scene. Green stood up. He did not offer a grand opening statement. He held up a copy of Officer Kelly's sworn arrest report. Your Honor, the state's entire case rests on 3 specific physical observations sworn to under penalty of perjury by Officer Kelly, Green said. He read directly from the printed affidavit. 1. The hood was radiating heat. 2. The suspect's foot was actively depressing the brake pedal. 3. The smart key was located in the center console. Green walked forward and placed the police report on the judge's bench alongside the subpoena. A 2024 Rolls-Royce Cullinan records engine block temperature down to the degree, Green stated. It records brake line pressure in bars. It uses internal RFID antennas to triangulate the exact location of the smart key inside or outside the cabin. The machine is a first-hand witness to the officer's claims. The data is not an expedition. It is the only objective, unalterable record of the crime scene. Judge Parker picked up the police report. He read Officer Kelly's narrative about the warm hood and the brake pedal. He put the paper down and looked at Green's specific 3-point data request. Parker picked up his pen. The arresting officer made the mechanical state of the vehicle the absolute foundation of his probable cause, Judge Parker said, looking at Taylor. The defense has the fundamental right to cross-examine that foundation using the vehicle's own logs. Parker signed the bottom of the subpoena. Motion to quash denied, Judge Parker ruled. Rolls-Royce is ordered to release the requested server data to the defense within 48 hours. Office of the Assistant District Attorney, 10 a.m. Michael Green did not wait for the next scheduled court date. He walked directly into Sarah Taylor's office and placed a 40-page bound document on her desk. The cover sheet bore the corporate watermark of Rolls-Royce Motor Cars North America. Taylor stopped typing on her laptop. She looked at the thick document. The telematics report, Green stated, taking a seat across from her. It breaks down the vehicle's sensor data in millisecond intervals for the entire 90-minute window surrounding my client's arrest. Green opened the binder to page 12. He placed a highlighted copy of Officer Kelly's sworn arrest report right next to it. Officer Kelly swore under penalty of perjury that he felt heat radiating from the hood, Green said, pointing to the police report. He moved his finger to the Rolls-Royce data log. Page 12, parameter, engine block temperature at 2:15 p.m. Value 72 degrees Fahrenheit. That is exactly the ambient air temperature recorded by the National Weather Service. The engine had not been ignited in 46 minutes. Taylor looked at the numbers. She didn't say a word. Green turned to page 15. Officer Kelly swore my client was actively depressing the brake pedal, establishing immediate intent to drive, Green continued. Page 15, parameter, brake line hydraulic pressure, value 0.0 bars. The pedal was completely unengaged. Taylor picked up a red pen. She made a single check mark next to Kelly's written statement about the brake pedal. Green turned to page 22. And finally, the legal linchpin for actual physical control, Green said. Officer Kelly swore he visually identified the smart key fob resting in the center console cup holder. Green slid the binder closer to Taylor. Page 22. Parameter. Cabin RFID immobilizer antennas. Sensor status, null. The interior antennas registered 0 signal from the smart key. The vehicle was electronically immobilized. Green tapped the bottom of the page. Parameter. Zone 4. Cargo RFID antenna. Status. Active. The key was locked inside the trunk the entire time. Taylor set her red pen down. She looked at Officer Kelly's signed affidavit. A police report is a legal instrument. Deliberately falsifying one to secure an arrest is a felony. Kelly hadn't just made a mistake. He had constructed a localized fiction that was entirely incompatible with the physical reality recorded by the machine. If Taylor brought this case before a judge, the defense would introduce the telematics data into the public record. Kelly would be cross-examined on the stand and forced to commit perjury on the record, dragging the district attorney's office down with him. Taylor closed the Rolls-Royce binder. She closed Kevin Carter's Manila case file. "The state dismisses all charges with prejudice," Taylor said flatly. She picked up her phone to call the precinct holding desk. "I'll process the release paperwork for the vehicle immediately." Green stood up and closed his briefcase. "Keep the binder, Sarah. You're going to need it when the Department of Justice asks why you're prosecuting fabricated arrests." Federal District Court, 48 hours after the dismissal. Michael Green didn't just want the criminal charges dropped. He wanted the officers' badges, and he wanted the city's money. He filed a federal civil rights lawsuit under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983, naming Officer Kelly, Officer Davis, and the Central City Police Department. The charges: false arrest, fabrication of evidence, and conspiracy to violate the Fourth Amendment. The city attorney's office immediately filed a standard motion to dismiss, invoking qualified immunity. Qualified immunity shields police officers from personal liability unless a plaintiff can prove they acted with explicit malice or knowingly violated clearly established law. An honest mistake about feeling heat on a car hood wouldn't pierce the shield. The city intended to bury the lawsuit by claiming Kelly simply made a procedural error in a high-stress environment. Green needed indisputable proof of malice. He found it in the digital discovery packet. Green sat in his office, his dual monitors displaying the synchronized Axon Body 3 camera footage. Officer Kelly's camera showed the violent extraction of Kevin Carter. But Green wasn't watching Kelly's feed. He was watching Officer Davis. At timestamp 14/18/22, Davis's camera turned away from the Rolls-Royce. The lens focused on the black Chevrolet Suburban pulling into the concrete aisle. Green turned up the volume on his studio monitors. He watched Davis walk up to the driver's side of the Suburban and shine his flashlight into the cabin. He heard the hired chauffeur, Thomas Ford, speak clearly over the ambient noise of the parking garage. "Excuse me, officers. I have a scheduled premium pickup for a Mr. Carter. Is that his vehicle?" Green paused the video. He noted the timestamp in his legal pad. Officer Davis had been officially informed of an exculpatory alibi, while the arrest was still in progress. Green pressed play. "This is an active police investigation. You are impeding a traffic stop," Davis stated on the recording. "Officer, I'm just verifying my client," Ford replied. "The pickup was scheduled for this exact spot. They ordered the car 30 minutes ago." Green leaned forward. That single sentence was the kill shot. It proved the officers knew Kevin was waiting for a ride, completely destroying the narrative that he intended to drive the Cullinan. On the screen, Davis didn't ask for Ford's commercial ID. He didn't document the witness's name. He weaponized his badge to eliminate him. "I am giving you a lawful order to disperse. If this vehicle is still parked in this aisle in 5 seconds, you are getting a citation for obstruction, and I am impounding your truck. Put it in reverse, now." Green stopped the playback. He exported the raw video file and ordered a certified stenographic transcript. Officer Kelly had falsified the physical parameters of the arrest report, but Officer Davis had actively threatened a defense witness with financial ruin to cover it up. That wasn't poor training. That was a coordinated conspiracy to suppress evidence under the color of law. Green attached the video file and the transcript to his opposition brief. When a federal judge sees an officer intentionally threatening an exculpatory witness on camera, qualified immunity is immediately stripped. The shield was gone. Officer Kelly and Officer Davis were now personally liable. Their pensions, their bank accounts, and their careers were fully exposed to the lawsuit. Law Office of Michael Green. Conference room B 10 a.m. A certified videographer pressed record. A court reporter's hands hovered over her stenography machine. Officer Kelly sat at the defense side of the table, wearing a dark suit instead of his uniform. The city attorney sat to his left. Michael Green sat across from them. Officer Kelly, Green began, placing a copy of the Form 314 arrest report on the table. You drafted and signed this narrative under penalty of perjury. Is that correct? Yes, Kelly answered. You stated that before making contact with my client, you placed your hand on the hood of the Cullinan and physically felt heat radiating from the engine block. Yes, that is standard procedure to establish recent operation. You also swore that you visually identified the vehicle's smart key resting in the center console cup holder, making it immediately accessible to the driver. Yes, it was in plain view. And finally, you swore my client's foot was actively depressing the brake pedal. Yes, Kelly stated, his voice steady. He was confident in his narrative. In a standard he said DUI case, the judge always deferred to the badge. Green didn't ask another question. He opened his briefcase and pulled out the 40-page bound telematics report from Rolls-Royce North America. He slid it across the table. Exhibit B, Green said. Certified server logs for the 2024 Rolls-Royce Cullinan, page 12. The engine block temperature at the exact minute of your arrival was 72 degrees Fahrenheit. The engine had been dead for 46 minutes. Did you touch a cold hood and swear on a federal document that it was hot? Objection. Argumentative, the city attorney interrupted. You can answer the question, officer, Green said, not looking at the lawyer. Kelly stared at the technical data. He didn't answer. Green turned the page. Page 15, brake line hydraulic pressure was at 0.0 bars. Page 22. The interior RFID immobilizer antennas registered 0 signal. The smart key was locked in the trunk, out of the cabin, disabling the ignition entirely. Did you fabricate the location of the key to illegally establish actual physical control? Kelly looked at the city attorney. The city attorney kept his face entirely neutral, realizing for the first time that the city was defending a documented felony. Green didn't wait for Kelly to speak. He tapped a key on his laptop. The audio from Officer Davis's body camera played through the conference room speakers. I have a scheduled premium pickup for a Mr. Carter. Is that his vehicle? They ordered the car 30 minutes ago. Then Officer Davis's voice. Put it in reverse. Now. Green stopped the playback. The room was completely silent except for the clicking of the stenographer's machine. Officer Kelly, Green leaned forward, resting his forearms on the table. Did you and Officer Davis conspire to threaten an exculpatory witness with a commercial citation to conceal the fact that my client had zero intent or physical capability to drive that vehicle? Kelly looked at the Rolls-Royce binder. He looked at the laptop. The digital footprint was absolute. If he answered yes, he confessed to civil rights violations and perjury. If he answered no, the physical evidence would prove he was lying under oath again. Kelly adjusted his tie. He looked directly into the videographer's camera lens. On the advice of counsel, Kelly said, his voice tight, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Green closed his laptop. We're done here. Office of the Chief of Police, 4 p.m. Chief Marcus Vance sat at the head of a mahogany conference table. City Attorney Sarah Jenkins sat to his left. The digital projector displayed the frozen frame of Officer Kelly invoking his Fifth Amendment right. Turn it off, Vance ordered. Jenkins clicked a button. The screen went dark. If this goes to a federal jury, Jenkins stated, opening her legal pad, Green will introduce the Rolls-Royce telematics logs and the body camera audio. He will establish a coordinated conspiracy to fabricate an arrest under actual physical control. Vance didn't look at the pad. What is our exposure? If Green proves a pattern of falsified dossier, arrests across the precinct. He will file a class action certification, Jenkins answered, her tone completely flat. He will subpoena every APC arrest officer Kelly and Officer Davis have made in the last 10 years. That is hundreds of potential civil rights violations. Vance stared at the blank projector screen. 2 officers had just handed a plaintiff's attorney the key to reopening a decade of closed cases. "Settle the Carter lawsuit," Vance ordered. "Do not let them file for class certification. Keep our arrest records sealed." At 9 a.m. the next morning, Jenkins walked into Michael Green's office. She didn't sit down. $4.2 million. The city admits no fault. Kelly and Davis resign quietly. Green remained seated behind his desk. Kevin Carter sat next to him. "The financial settlement is $5.5 million, Green said, sliding a single sheet of paper across his desk. "But the money isn't the primary term." Jenkins looked down at the paper. "My client is dropping the class action threat," Green continued. "In exchange, the Central City Police Department will alter its patrol protocols." Jenkins picked up the term sheet. "By the end of the month," Green said, "the department will issue a written directive to all patrol officers. Prior to initiating any field sobriety test for a parked vehicle under actual physical control, officers must physically verify the location of the vehicle's ignition key on body camera. If the key is not located within the cabin, the investigation is immediately terminated." Jenkins stopped reading. Green was forcing the city to fundamentally change its DUI enforcement strategy, permanently destroying the loophole Kelly had relied on. "If you refuse the directive," Green added, his voice completely neutral, "I file the class action motion at noon. I will attach the video of Officer Kelly pleading the Fifth to the public docket." Jenkins placed the paper back on the desk. She looked at Kevin, who had remained silent, then back at Green. "I will have the mayor's office sign the paperwork by 3 o'clock, Jenkins said. She turned and walked out of the office. Central City Police Precinct. Locker room, 8 a.m. Officer Kelly unclipped his duty belt. He placed his Glock 19, his taser, his Axon Body 3 camera, and his silver shield on the metal bench. 2 lockers down, Officer Davis did the same. Neither man spoke. They placed their personal items into cardboard boxes and walked out the back door into the civilian parking lot. Because they resigned to settle a federal civil rights lawsuit involving documented perjury, both of their names were immediately submitted to the state's Brady list. Any future testimony they gave in a court of law would be legally considered untrustworthy. They were permanently unemployable in law enforcement. 48 hours later, the Municipal Finance Department authorized a direct ACH wire transfer. The city's general liability fund was debited exactly $5.5 million. The funds cleared the Federal Reserve window and landed in the IOLTA trust account of Michael Green's law firm. At 6 a.m. the following Monday, every patrol cruiser in the Central City Police Department received a mandatory update on their mobile data terminals. A new general order flashed across the screens, requiring a digital signature from every active officer. Prior to initiating an actual physical control (APC) investigation, officers must physically locate, verify, and document the location of the vehicle's ignition key on body-worn camera. Investigations lacking key verification are to be immediately terminated. Westlake Plaza. Parking structure, level 3. 2:15 p.m. The black 2024 Rolls-Royce Cullinan sat in the exact same parking space. This time, the engine was running. The digital dashboard was fully illuminated. Kevin Carter walked across the concrete. He did not walk to the driver's side door. He opened the heavy rear passenger door and stepped into the cabin. In the driver's seat sat Thomas Ford, wearing his black suit and black tie. The heavy metallic Rolls-Royce Smart Key rested visibly in the center console cup holder. "Ready, Mr. Carter?" Ford asked. "Let's go," Kevin replied. Ford shifted the column selector into drive. The Cullinan pulled smoothly out of the parking space, turned the corner, and disappeared down the concrete ramp. Officer Kelly bet his badge against a rolling server, and it cost the city $5.5 million. Did you know sitting in a parked car can get you a DUI? Let me know if your state has this law. Subscribe for more real stories of the law hitting back.
Report officially finalized. To ensure you see future transparent records, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching Bodycam Incident Reports.